Welcome to the Fun Astrology Podcast for Monday, June 23rd. Thomas Miller, thank you so much for joining us. Well, obviously, we have a lot to talk about today, and we have already talked about what's going on right now a lot. So before we go there, let's check in with Kristin, and if you're in the Lucky Stars Club, the July Lucky Stars information was sent out Saturday morning. If for some reason you didn't receive it, please check your spam box before sending a message through the chat bot on funastrology.com.
Hello, Thomas and Fun Astrology Podcast. We have a string of lucky days. Today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday all look wonderful as the sun makes its conjunction with Jupiter, and there is a new moon in Cancer on Wednesday. The energy does shift as we get to the weekend. To find out why, join the Lucky Stars Club. Thomas and I can't wait to see you there. I hope you all have a wonderful week.
And Kristin has a birthday coming up this week on Friday. Her Thursday report this week is a solar return chart for her. So there you go. Happy birthday week to you, Kristin. And Kristin's going to talk about it tomorrow as well. But the big aspect of the week, really, is tomorrow the sun and Jupiter conjoin. And I mean, if you just take cookbook astrology, think about the sun as you and Jupiter as good things expanding, you'd think, wait a minute, why are we where we are? If you thought about it that way, you could say, well, trust the process, trust the sky. These are all positive aspects that we're seeing right now. Trust that it's going to be a positive outcome. And that's one great perspective to have. The other is kind of like I was when COVID hit. We had been watching the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn from January 2020. Had a little event with about 15 or 20 people in Dallas, watched it come in, and then COVID hit 3 weeks later. I'm like, oh, we're starting with the pandemic this time. Because in 1284, when those guys got together like they did, the bubonic plague was the last thing in the timeline before the Italian Renaissance. Now, like they say with the market, and past performance does not indicate present results. And what happened in 1284 was unique to that Saturn-Pluto conjunction, but there is a definite pattern on that aspect alone of passing the baton from one ruling, dominating entity to the next. In that case, it was from the Dark Ages, from nothingness, to the Italian Renaissance. And that was a huge contrast from darkness to what some historians said was the greatest time to be on the planet. It was amazing. Could you imagine walking down the streets of Florence, sipping your latte, and looking over Leonardo's easel as he says, what do you think? It would have been incredible. Well, 250-year Pluto cycle, that turned into Vatican corruption and Rome and problems, and the baton got passed to London. 250 more years, the baton got passed to a rogue group of colonists in the Northeast. And here we are, 250 years later. It's just about as screwed up as it can be, and it looks like the baton probably will get passed. We look at the Great Pyramid. Each one of those indications, each one of the corners of the Great Pyramid was a war sign. Pluto and Aquarius, those are the two revolutionary wars of the late 1700s. Pluto was there last 250 years. Here we are. Neptune, last time it was in Aries, Civil War. Uranus, getting ready to move into Gemini here in about, 2 weeks. It was in all three of the major wars, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and World War II. And another interesting characteristic about Uranus and Gemini is that it was in those positions toward the beginning of each respective war. Each one of them. It was more toward the beginning than the middle or the end. We've been looking at the Great Pyramid and talking about it for, 6 months, something like that, for a while, really honing down on it here the last couple of months. And I'm sorry, I'm just listening to the rhetoric and watching the energy around this, and it just sounds like the old weapons of mass destruction, Colin Powell and George Bush too, and all of that. Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. He must be taken out. So it wasn't a surprise. In my financial stuff, Ray was speculating. He said on Saturday, yeah, he probably will. Friday, I sold all the stocks I had, my little portfolio, and I went to bonds. I did that just based on the sky. So we do have guidance. The sky is very loud right now. And another one, another loud one, check out the weekly video that was posted on Saturday. There's a big announcement in there regarding the Old Soul, New Soul astrology podcast. I show the astrology around it and everything. And in today's chart, one of the two other things we have overhead today, we have the Sun-Jupiter coming up tomorrow. That's really strong today because it happens mid-morning, late morning, the Sun-Jupiter does. But this morning already, the Sun has squared Neptune. Remember, everything that changes signs is going to hit the pyramid now. Sun-Neptune exact time is 4:28 this morning Eastern. But then also we have a yod in today's chart. At the top of the witch's hat is Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth and transformation, at the top of the yod in today's chart. You cannot make this stuff up. At the base across the bottom, one side, Mars in Virgo. On the other side, the Sun and Jupiter. Now, yods are interesting because they have dual energy. The sextile is positive. The quincunxes are challenges. I don't know if this is stretching it or not, but if we said Mars, war, the god of war, it's in the yod. So Mars, let's take the attacks that happened over the weekend as that. And then sextile to the Sun, Jupiter. Might that be a good thing? Because it's in Cancer, homeland. All right, and I don't want to, oh boy, this is like area I just don't like getting into. But let's say that the effort that was put forth over the weekend is successful. Just go with me on that based on the sextile. Let's just say mission accomplished. But then we have two quincunxes. We're going to run both of those energies up to Pluto. Pluto is nuclear. This whole thing was about nuclear. Pluto is about destruction. Tear it down to rebuild it. I don't know. Where do you see that in today's events? Could this be one of those shorter-term win, longer-term not so much kind of things? And we still have the energies of the pyramid. That Pluto in war contexts last time was revolutionary. Throw it over. Throw it out. We will fight to the death to be free. Both cases, the American and the French. And then the other aspect from today, the Sun happens to be squaring Neptune exactly today. Combine that with those quincunxes up to Pluto, and do we have illusion, delusion, confusion over the result or outcome of this? Thinking it was successful, the base of the yod, but in reality it triggered something bigger, Pluto at the top of the yod. I'm throwing down sand on the floor right now. You pick it up and make it into whatever kind of object you think fits best for you. I'm looking at several different possibilities. Let's go to one other, just playing with this yod again. You can't ignore that it's in today's chart, and it stays there up through Wednesday, by the way. Here's the last one we'll throw down. Let's use the sextile again. Let's say that this effort was very successful, hyper successful. Pluto, it shut it down. It was truly a quick one and done. Boom. And that Sun square Neptune says that if there's a repercussion, really watch out. It could go truly nuclear. Again, just throwing down sand. This is where predictions, people are going to come out. You're going to see a lot of stuff across Twitter. Oh, I predicted this. Great. If you're an astrologer and you didn't see this, I don't know what kind of astrology you're practicing. The thing is, and what we've been laying down here is two sides of the coin. The energy behind it will have an effect. How you and I send our thoughts out toward this, not fear. Remember, these are all positive aspects. Hold that it's all going to be well. And then we'll see how it plays out in the news. We'll see which direction it goes. And we'll reformulate from there. But we know the big picture. That's the one thing we do know. We know the big picture. All right. I love you guys. Wow, what a Monday. Kristin, I hope you have a wonderful birthday week. And we will celebrate with you on Friday. Yay. And you guys have a great one. I love you. Bye-bye.